We are back, the Kirby on Sports podcast, episode 209. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to this episode of the Kirby on Sports podcast, and it comes your way right now. Ladies and gentlemen, one and all, welcoming you to another edition of the Kirby on Sports podcast. As always, a huge thanks to our sponsors, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Transformative Alignment Group, Barrett, Pest, and Termite Services, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, Shenandoah Music, and the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports podcast, Don't Sleep Energy. Use promo code KOS Podcast for 12% off your order every single time. We will not waste any more time getting down to the nitty gritty, getting this show on the road, bringing in a man who has been working long hours. I have massive respect for what he has been doing. The Weapon, Dan Dembski. What's going on, my man?
Good, man. Doing well. Glad to be back on the show this week. Sorry for my absence last week. Was very, very ill, so starting to get better now, starting to turn a corner, and another exciting week of NFL football to talk about with the boys, which is always a plus coming into the show.
And I know, plus your sickness, you've been battling it with work as well, so
yeah, man.
Hopefully all is going well on that front as well.
It is, man. It's busy, but it's life. You know, that's what we all sign up for. So
absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez. Carlos, good evening, my man.
Yes. Good evening, gentlemen. As you can see, I've re-brought the belt out because I need to remind you two who the champ is when it comes to the pick'ems, and to not let your heads get so big because we were in the same exact situation last year, and your boy still prevailed and won.
Oh my!
I don't remember getting a big head recently. Maybe I did. I don't
No,
know.
I'm just reminding you guys. I'm just reminding you guys to, I'm just reminding you.
Yeah.
The champ is here, baby. The people's
here.
champ. The two-time Kirby on Sports Pick'ems champion. Your champion. My champion. Of course, my champion. I'm my champion. Chiefs champion. I'm here, baby. Let's go. Going for the three-peat.
Always a great intro. Always.
Oh, yes. Gentlemen, I'm going to start off the show. There is a huge issue with the Gotham City Football Club. Robert Saleh getting fired this morning as we're recording this episode.
The Gotham City Football Club?
Yeah, you
for one, as I get really nerdy here, Gotham City is in New Jersey. It is not New York, okay? New York is its own thing. Gotham City is its own thing, okay? That's for one. Number two, this isn't a soccer team, okay? Like, what are we doing? The Gotham, like, what? But no, absolutely not. We will not be calling the New York Jets of all team the Gotham City Football Club. The hell is wrong with you?
Giants are the more relevant team in New York.
For the record,
New York team anyway, in my opinion.
I'm just pulling up this image there.
Oh, wow. On Reddit 2 years ago from the what? No.
It was on.
We are not. That never became a thing. So why are you trying to call it that?
Yeah,
it's trying to make it a thing.
I just wanted to call
the New York Jets. Okay,
the New York Jets have a problem.
There we go.
When have they not had a problem? I can't think of a time in their history they haven't had a problem.
Yeah, they banked their future on a 40-year-old quarterback.
And they fire their head coach.
The GM
Reports
is
coming
awful.
out all day.
Keep
Not
their
consulting
god-awful
this
offensive
firing.
coordinator.
Oh my gosh. Just looking at this, I just had to touch on this with you all for a little bit. This is pretty bad. And Rodgers had no clue about this. So I'll be tuning in.
I highly doubt that.
Yeah, I
I
don't-
highly doubt that.
I don't believe that
buy
he had no input in that. I know that was the reporting, but I don't buy that for a second. I don't
There's
buy that for a
no
second.
way they
No
did
way.
not consult Aaron Rodgers
'Cause
before
you know how-
firing the head coach.
Because he doesn't like him. It's pretty easy to see.
Yeah.
So,
and
this
all
is
this
what's
stuff
bad.
about Nathaniel Hackett too, and that stuff coming out. I'm not sure how much of that is true, but it's like there's a whole bunch of reports coming out about Robert Saleh getting fired with a 2-3 record.
I mean, why wouldn't you consider firing Nathaniel Hackett, considering that, okay, you got your boy Aaron Rodgers back, but yet
Right.
we're still 2-3. We scored the same amount of points as we did last year.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be,
Great point.
bringing him back was supposed to be the big deal. Like, it's just like this Jets offense has been god awful.
Oh, it's bad.
No play action. And again, it's because Rodgers didn't like doing it. That's why he had a problem with LaFleur. LaFleur liked doing all the gadget plays, all the, a lot of play action and everything. Rodgers doesn't like doing that. Rodgers just wants to stand back there. And obviously now that he's coming back from the Achilles injury, he just doesn't want to move. So I don't know, man. The Jets are just I'm not saying, again, it's not like Saleh was the best coach, but at the same time, it's like, how does Hackett still have a job and then Saleh doesn't? And again, you just go to he's Aaron Rodgers' boy. Like, that's what it is. That's how Hackett even has a job, is because
right.
it's Aaron Rodgers' boy. That's why.
It's the same old Jets. It's the same thing we've talked about with the Jets for a long time. And bad organizations have this habit of, it's cyclical, really, and it's been that way for the Jets, where they bring in this, the generational talent, if you will,
quote unquote,
a head coach who I thought Robert Saleh was a great hire, a great move for them. I don't think he did bad necessarily. I don't think he was great either. Like Carlos said, he's just an average coach. But it blows up in their face because that's just what happens. I mean, look at this organization. They've had very few years of success in the last 25 to 30 years. I don't know how many playoff appearances they've had, but not many. And not many playoff wins to show for it either. So
I don't think they've been to the playoffs since Mark Sanchez, right?
You might
Am I right on that?
I believe you're correct.
And they went to the AFC title game, I think.
Both those years.
Quarterback. Yeah, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, that's kind of just my overall takeaway. That's just who the Jets are as an organization. They're a mess. And the fish rots from the head. And we know this ownership and the general manager are a train wreck. So, it starts up top and it sort of trickles its way down. So, yeah, this is not surprising to me that the Jets are in the news again for just silliness, quite frankly. To fire him this early in the season, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and on top of that, they're coming back from London, and then you got a quick turnaround to face the Buffalo Bills, a huge matchup that is a winnable game for them. And again, on the defense, the Jets on the defensive side of the ball, I think have been outstanding.
Yes.
I think they've been great. Who's in charge of the defense? It's Saleh. He's a defensive head coach.
He's the defensive guru. Yep.
Where's the issues lie offensively? That falls squarely on Hackett. So why is Hackett still here? And I'm not saying that them changing the offensive coordinator and going with somebody else is going to make Aaron Rodgers any better. Aaron Rodgers has been god awful. He's a shell of himself at this point.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is it feels like Saleh's the scapegoat. It feels like they caught wind that he was thinking about firing Nathaniel Hackett. They didn't want to piss Rodgers off, so they were like, all right, we got to let you go, and Hackett's got to stay because he's Rodgers' boy, and we know how much of a diva Aaron Rodgers has become.
Yeah.
So you can't – God, just what a fall from grace that guy had.
I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say on tomorrow's Pat McAfee show because they did have to move it from today to tomorrow. So
I'm not looking for. I never look forward to what he has to
I
say.
will not be. I have
so tired of him.
I've stopped participating on Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays or Wednesdays, whatever, for about the last 3. I mean, ever since his last year in Green Bay, like I was just done because it's just I don't know. It's just what does he have to say? You know, ever since he became this contrarian and this, you know, whatever the hell he's become, this weirdo.
Yeah,
you know, it's just like, you know, when he first came on, it was just super interesting. It was a big deal because, you know, the McAfee show was like very small. It was a small time show at the time. And like, it was a big deal that he was coming on and he had very profound things to say, but then he just started getting a little too comfortable and showed too much of himself. And it was just like, all right, I'm out on this.
I understand what you mean.
Totally agree.
But anyways, the Jets fire Robert Saleh. Not sure what that means for the Jets, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I could tell you what it means.
All right.
That means they're gonna lose as always. They're just a poor poverty franchise. Their fan base is gonna suffer. They really thought banking on a 40-year-old quarterback was the answer. They really thought that.
Yep. And not giving him much help either. I mean, a little bit.
No, he's got plenty of help. Let's not lie here. He's got plenty
right,
of he's got a lot of talent. He even brought his boys with him. He brought Lazard with him. They got him Mike Williams. They got him. He has Garrett Wilson on the roster. He's got Breece Hall as a running back. They revamped the offensive line. They brought in Tyron Smith from Dallas, who's always been a solid left tackle. So, you know, again, they already had a solid defense. They gave him help. It's just he's old.
He's washed.
He's not, and he's been. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been good since his last MVP season. His last year in Green Bay, he was bad. Obviously, he didn't play last year because he got hurt. And it's just kind of the same thing as from that last year in Green Bay, where he's just not him. He's a shell of his former self. Not everybody's Tom Brady and can beat Father Time. Father Time is undefeated.
No one's Tom Brady. No one's been Tom Brady. That's just kind of be a natural truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to see anybody play as long and be as dexterous and as athletic as Tom Brady was for as long as has. And I think Rodgers' ego plays a big role in that too. He probably thinks, "Oh, I can play at that level still," and he's shown he certainly can't. And
absolutely.
It's been a detriment to this team. He's hurt this team, and Sunday was a perfect example of that. So.
And them possibly trading for Devontae Adams is not going to help.
No, that's a bad move. Yeah, it's a bad move. So
yeah, I wonder where he will go, but that's another conversation for another time.
Find out within the next 24 hours is what I'm hearing.
All right. Well, Robert Saleh getting fired. That was the big news.
First coach fired. He was not my pick.
He was not. That wasn't in my bingo card.
That wasn't on my NFL bingo card. Was Robert Saleh being the first coach fired?
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Well, with that being said, we'll move on to some other game action. Dan, since you were out last week, we will start with the Ravens victory.
Piss off. Let's hold that one for a little bit later. Why don't we let you take the grand stage? All right, let's talk about your stupid team.
Yeah, my game was exciting, but your team.
Yeah, let's talk about your stupid
Super Bowl caliber team. Let's talk about it.
Whoa.
They're S-Bob now. They're Super Bowl or bust now.
Okay, what are you two doing?
S-Bob, I like that.
No, absolutely not.
They're S-Bob, baby.
Oh my.
Mr. Oh, you don't have confidence now? You think you guys are about to dismantle the Ravens? You literally said that in the group chat. I got the receipts, baby. Don't make me pull them up.
The receipts?
I got the receipts.
Well, put them right on screen for you.
Well, let's read the receipts because I don't know.
Let's read the receipts.
Well, I didn't say that, did I? What did I say?
What the fuck? Oh my god. Okay, hold on. How about you just start talking about the game and I'll pull up the receipts?
Well, I don't remember, but 34-13, the Washington Commanders 4-1 over the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, actually, you know what? It wasn't you. It was Dan who said that.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I was
Thank you.
I was the
Thank
negative.
you
I was the
very
negative one.
much. Thank
Oh,
you.
you
For-
are
Yeah,
vindicated.
those receipts were wrong.
In fairness,
pulled up
in
the wrong
fairness, in
receipts.
fairness,
You
in
pulled up
fairness,
the wrong receipts.
in fairness,
Okay,
it is some
Kirby.
dumb shit you would say.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
said it mostly to
Excuse my
see if
French.
Kirby would react, and he did not, and I was kind of pissed. I was like, I thought he would say
Well,
something.
his response was watch party, and then of course, then you were like,
Yeah.
you're mad at that point because
I
the
was in a
Ravens
bad
were.
mood.
But yeah, let's
Move.
talk about your team first, Kirby.
Go.
First and foremost, the Browns suck.
He's really bad.
Deshaun Watson, man, they're talking about benching him. Jameis Winston.
They're not talking about benching him. They're saying they're not making a change at quarterback. What are you talking about?
No, the media
They
was-
can't afford to bench him.
No, he's getting paid like
know,
$1
with all
billion
the
a
money they
second.
have sunk into him. But anyways, it's just a big mess over there in Cleveland. Looking at just their offense not getting much production, defense not really doing much in the
Did he have
game.
like
I
a-
mean,
Did he have
There-
like a 6 QBR on Sunday or something? It was really bad.
yeah, I
It
mean,
was somewhere around there.
the media's talk about Deshaun Watson and what a terrible pickup this is, and he's
It truly might go down as one of the worst trades. I mean, think about where the Browns were when they made that pick or when they made that trade. They had worked so hard to put themselves in a position to be able to compete. They were
in the playoffs.
They were
Before
within
that.
a play of beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes went out of the game, and anything is possible, baby. Chad Henne came in and made the plays necessary to finish that to finish that game out. But then after that, Baker Mayfield has a bad season. A lot of injury. It was there was a lot of injuries involved. And, they had one hell of a season the season before. And then they all of a sudden decide, let's get Deshaun Watson and move off of Baker Mayfield, a guy who got you your first playoff win, I think, in their franchises ever since they came back as the Browns.
and look at what Baker's
First
doing now.
playoff win.
And and of course, look at the journey. Obviously, it was a journey for him. He
had to go to
went
the
to
Panthers
Carolina, it didn't work out there. Goes to LA for a quarter of the season, and then ends up in Tampa Bay and is now lighting it up and playing great. And then you see what Deshaun Watson has done. It's been injury after injury, and then now we don't even know what's going on. I mean, the Browns they're banking on a guy who clearly, he's been nationally, shamed and embarrassed. So you got to think he doesn't feel comfortable out there just being exposed.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to.
Just subliminal jokes from Carlos Martinez.
That was not intentional. Okay. It just fit. Okay. So you got to think, and then, you got to think he's lost. He doesn't have the respect from his teammates. Clearly, his teammates don't look like they like him.
Yeah.
It's just it's terrible, man. Because the defense even isn't playing that great because they're like, man, it's 3 and out. They're just getting tired, and it's a terrible situation for Cleveland and those fans. Obviously, Dan, is probably happy because they're AFC North rivals, but
Yeah, but I was never worried about them to start the season anyway, so I didn't think they'd be this bad necessarily, but yeah, it's been a comedy of errors for them. Carlos is right. This may go down as one of the worst contracts of all time, especially considering
it's a guaranteed contract too,
it's
completely guaranteed,
100% guaranteed. That's
the worst part about it.
It's never happened. And he missed the whole season prior, right? What was it, a torn ACL or something he had his last year in Houston?
No, so Houston, it was...
What was the injury he was coming off of there?
I think that was the shoulder injury.
Okay, yeah.
And then he sat out the year.
Yep.
Because he didn't want to play. Got traded.
Yeah.
and then I think he had to serve his suspension. And then came back, finished that season, and actually was actually playing pretty well. Comes back started out last year, and then beat the Ravens, and then all of a sudden it came out that he got hurt during that game and was going to be out for the season.
That's right. Yeah.
And then since coming back, he has not been the same.
Is it comedy, the fact that in the second half the Browns already burned one time out and he just walked away from the play on 4th down?
I've never.
Yeah, he didn't want to go for it.
The fans, it didn't call a timeout. They just took the delay of game.
I've never seen that in the years I've watched football. That was
It looked like he just gave up.
Pretty much. I would say that's the definition of giving up if you look it up. So
yeah,
it's just a crazy situation, and I shed no tears for them because they knew a little bit about they knew about his background. They knew about the things that the allegations against him at the time. So they took a chance on that.
They were banking on him being that guy, like that last year that he was in Houston, where they went to the playoffs and everything. Like it looked like he was going to be one of the top 4 quarterbacks in the league.
True.
I mean, again, we're talking about Deshaun Watson. Obviously, Clemson legend. Beat Alabama in the national championship game. Took him to the limit the first time around. Had those epic duels with Lamar Jackson with Louisville, and then he comes to Houston and he just completely turns the franchise around, and they're doing great. And then they trade away everything away from him. They trade away DeAndre Hopkins and got like pennies on the dollar back for it. And then he has this whole scandal. I mean, they were banking on him still being that guy, being able to rise to that level. And then it didn't happen.
Yep. And again, they knew about the allegations, so it wasn't like it wasn't public at that point. Now it developed more over time, and we, more women came out and stated that, hey, he did this. So more happened over time, but yeah, that plus the performance and the injury issues as well. It's just crazy to me that they even pulled the trigger to make that move, much less make it 100% guaranteed, which that'll never happen again. I don't think in the history of the NFL. I think teams are going to see that and say 100% guaranteed.
Well, no. I mean,
nobody deserves.
That's what Lamar wanted. Lamar wanted a 100% guaranteed contract. He couldn't get it because teams are too afraid.
Signing that. Nobody's doing that one.
And I mean, I think the only team that would ever consider that is the Chiefs. But I mean, for everybody else, it'll just never happen again.
Yeah.
But enough about the Browns. Let's finally talk about the Commanders.
Yeah, we've gotten off topic.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that off our plate so we could talk about the 4-1 Washington Commanders.
Look at us.
Well,
Who would have thought?
First time since 2008.
When Jim Flippin Zorn was the head coach. Remember those clown years? Jeez.
I don't, because this isn't my team.
Yeah. Back when this podcast did not exist, I was watching Jim Zorn call the most outrageous fake punts that did not convert. And I'm like, what's going on? So to see this team 4-1 and playing some pretty good football is very impressive. There is some room for improvement. This was not the cleanest game. Go down to the red zone, Daniels throws an interception. It's bound to happen. It's the National Football League. But it seems like every time Daniels makes a mistake, that is Jaden Daniels, obviously, he seems to just wipe it away quickly. He has the poise to go back and forget about it and just do what he does best. He looked good in the pocket. He was making some good throws, getting backed up some, and Cleveland's defense did bring some pressure, but he was able to get out of it and make a good throw. The pass to Terry, the touchdown pass to Diami Brown. Just two examples right there of how elusive Jaden Daniels is. And you look at Daniels, and the work that he has been doing, it's very great to see. But again, I will go back to this was not the most perfect game, but the Commanders were able to look at what mistakes they made and overcome that quickly to get the 34-13 victory. Defensively, tackling looked better. Frankie Louvu went in for a couple sacks. He looked really good too. Defense sort of looked more like a complete unit and not like trying to figure out what's going on where, who's tackling who. They did better tackling. And I mean, all in all, the running attack too. I'll talk about Jaden Daniels running the football. He seems so graceful when he does it. It just seems like he knows what he's doing. He's not trying so hard to get that first down. He's just running to get to where he thinks he can safely get out because he doesn't want to take that extra effort, it seems. This is just my opinion, and potentially take a bad hit or something like that, if you get what I mean. So, Jane Daniels, a great job. It was great to see Austin Eckler getting back in there. Not many carries, only 67 yards. McNichols looked good, and Brian Robinson, 18 yards, 2 touchdowns there. So he looked great as well. So all around a really good performance. This was against a pretty bad Browns team, but where the Commanders are at right now, this next game that I'm sure we'll be talking about against the Baltimore Ravens, this will be a huge test for this football team. I kid you not, gentlemen, because this is a 4-1 team. The only thing that I like is the Commanders are currently pillowed with a 4-1 record. It is not the end of the world if they lose to Baltimore. This is going to be a tough game. It's going to be a real test to see what this team is capable of. So far, the Commanders have looked really good outside of their first matchup against Tampa Bay, where Tampa Bay, I've said this numerous times before, and I will say it again, Tampa Bay will go far. I think looking at what Tampa Bay's done, Washington's deserved to lose that game. So looking at everything there, this is going to be another tough test for this team to see what the Commanders are made of. It's going to be tough. Nothing is guaranteed, nothing is given, but I'm really excited. But it was a great matchup, still a lot to work on, but still the team looks pretty good, and it looks like the players and the fans are having a lot of fun watching this team so far.
Well, you just summarized it. I think it's the fun. It's the fun factor. It's having some excitement for a player, for a young player. Jaden Daniels is, I think he's going to be a great NFL quarterback. I'm not going to say,
just needs to put on some size. He needs to put on some size.
He's put on some size. He's, he's the first player in NFL history to pass for at least 1,000 yards and run for at least 250 yards through his first 5 games. Small sample size, right? We know that. But he's just electric. And what I like about him most is he just doesn't seem to make the unnecessary dangerous play. Now, he did have the red zone interception, as you alluded to, Kirby. But for the most part, I think especially for a rookie quarterback, he's very smart with the football. And I know we talked about after week 1, we talked about how we're always concerned with these running quarterbacks, mobile quarterbacks, I guess nowadays, because every quarterback's a mobile quarterback. Can they protect themselves? And we asked that question about Jaden Daniels, and I think we all kind of felt like he probably can. And I think he's done a great job of that so far. He hasn't, to me, taken any unnecessary hits. And I think when you ask a Washington fan, who watched Robert Griffin III play a decade ago now, which is crazy to think about, that obviously comes to the front of the mind. But I think Daniels I think he's a better player, honestly. Early, this is very early. But I think he could be a better quarterback than RG3 was, especially when it comes to career longevity, especially if he protects himself. But Carlos is right. He does have to put some weight on. He's a bit undersized right now, but that'll come with time. But to me, he's the reason. He's the injection of energy this team needed, that the fans needed. You're talking about new ownership, a whole new regime in Washington. They needed some excitement. They needed some fanfare around this team, and I think right now they have it. And it's really great to see, honestly, because it's been a long time. These fans have been waiting a long time for something like this. It's still early. We're not making any grand proclamations. I know some of the fans are, and that's okay because it's excitement right now. And I think you've done a good job, Kirby, of tampering your expectations. You know how the NFL is week to week. It's a strange league. We don't know.
I'll tell you one thing I'm excited about. The wave at Northwest Stadium. There was a wave.
Oh my, who cares? The wave is the dumbest thing ever. It truly is. Like, I hate people that try to start. Look, I paid my money. No. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth right now, okay? I'm about to drop some gospel on you, okay? Okay? The Swiss Army knife is speaking. You listen, okay? The masses listen, okay? I'm going to say this right now. The wave is the dumbest thing ever, okay? Because all in all, I did not pay to stand up and go, like, no, get out of my face with that. I don't want to do it. I'm watching football. I'm watching soccer. I'm watching hockey. I'm watching basketball. Damn it, I'm watching wrestling. I'm watching freaking UFC fights, boxing. I don't care. That's what I paid to do. I didn't pay to stand up and put my hands up in the air, okay? Get out of my face with that. That is not a cool thing. Everybody can come back now. I'm done dropping some gospel.
Oh, I just got a coughing fit. Thanks for that, Carlos.
Man. That was Carlos'
I love that.
gospel. But Carlos, to my point, although you don't like the wave, it seems like there is some excitement in the stadium, unlike when
Okay, I'm sorry. Excitement does not mean the wave. Okay. You know what the wave means? That means the fans are bored and not paying attention to the game. Okay. That's not a good thing. Excitement is, God, I keep doing this. The excitement is Kansas City locked in, making noise every play. Okay. Excitement is Baltimore. Same thing. Locked in, making noise every play. Okay. The wave is not excitement. The wave is boredom. It's the fans trying to entertain themselves and make themselves the story of the game. Okay. Like, that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. This is how you know Washington has been such a poverty franchise for all these years. Because they don't even know how to be locked in when their team is good. God.
There we go. There we go. Carlos and a rant. That was a good rant.
That's not a bad rant against the wave. Because I'm kind of impartial to the wave. I could take it or leave it, but I think I could leave it now after hearing that because it's not
goddamn right.
It's not. It's he.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it when people try to start it. I'm like, guys, I'm trying to watch the game. I'm not trying to stand up and throw my hands in the air. Whoa! I understand it's fun for the kids, but like for me, it's not fun. It's the last thing I want to do. I paid my hard-earned money to watch this live, not to stand up and look like a goofball going, ah! Get out of here.
Sounds like the perfect phrase for Kirby, goofball.
Yeah. Oh, he is a goofball.
But
he's our goofball.
Listen, other than that, a great win, but a lot of work the Commanders need to do. And this game next week, Dan, it's going to be a tough test.
It's going to be a tough test for us, too, especially our secondary.
Yeah.
Pray for us.
That's an understatement.
All right. In Dan's honor, we'll talk about the Ravens' victory over the Bengals right after this short commercial.
Dan's honor, he's not dead. Like, what are we doing here?
In memoriam.
Since he was not here last week.
We talked about the Ravens for him last week.
Yes, we did. We'll be right back.
So we're just talking
for sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals. When you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8888. 8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com. And we welcome you back to episode 209 of the Kirby on Sports podcast with the weapon Dan Dembski, Carlos the Swiss Army Knife Martinez.
Whoa. Pause. Roll that back. Try that again, please.
Carlos the Swiss Army Knife Martinez.
There we go. Attaboy.
I am Josh Kirby.
What was happening there?
I really do not know. I could not.
The tape was coming unwound.
All right. The next matchup, the Baltimore Ravens, a close victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. 31-38.
What a game. That game was.
I'm sure
all over the map.
I'm sure Dan was a big
tell in the group chat,
jumping up and down all around just watching this game.
I don't know. I mean, he's still recovering from being sick, so I doubt there was much jumping around. But I'm pretty sure there was a lot of cursing. There was a lot of,
especially at the end of regulation. Yeah, at the end of
you got to see it through, my boy. You got to see it through.
You're right. Yeah, this game was probably one of the best non-primetime games we've seen so far this year. I think most people would agree. And a Ravens fan, certainly the blood pressure cuff should have probably stayed on the whole time because it was intense. It was back and forth. Seemed like every time one team scored, another team had an answer. It was just an insane game. I'll start first with the performance of one Joe Burrow. He was pretty phenomenal in this game and really throughout, I'd say 98% of the game because the last 2% he didn't play great. But picked apart this secondary pretty much all game long. And, you know, it seemed to me like this was the Joe Burrow we all expected to see, and we hadn't seen to this point in the season. He kind of struggled up to this game. He really kind of had his way with the Ravens defense throughout most of this game. Obviously, the one glaring mistake, the interception to Marlon Humphrey, which put the Ravens in position to, I believe, go down and tie the game at that point, if I have that correct. I'd have to double check. But this was, you know what this was to me, essentially? It was like a Big 12 game because there was no defense at all. Neither defense showed up.
None.
Defense got off the bus. It was just like, all right, who's going to have the big play next? And that's kind of what it was. It was just a back and forth of just big plays, of breakdowns in coverage, of poor tackling, of bad tackling angles, of not being able to chase down running backs. It was that kind of game where the offenses just kind of had their way, and I'd say that with both offenses because it's just ridiculous. But the Ravens defense, Overall, definitely a little concerned as we host Washington this Sunday. The secondary very suspect throughout this game. Obviously, I mean, anytime you give up 400, maybe 500. How many passing yards did Joe Burrow had? 392. Okay, so and only 9 incomplete passes. So anytime you give up almost 400 passing yards, there's going to be some concerns for that secondary. So I definitely have some concerns moving forward about that. The positives, though, first of all, Lamar played.
Jackson. Yep, there
Lamar
we go.
Jackson is just Lamar Jackson.
He was phenomenal.
He was great.
Absolutely phenomenal.
He was absolutely great. This is one of the best games he's had. It did have the almost costly turnover in overtime. We'll get to that in a minute. But he just this entire Ravens offense to me, they were down 10 at 2 different points in this game. I believe it was 24. Shoot, I'd have to go back and check because it's been so long ago now. I know it was 34-24 at one point, and also 24-14 and 28-38 or 38-28. So I had that almost right. The thing that I'm most impressed with is Lamar Jackson's leadership in those types of situations, because this team could have easily just laid down and quit. And it's a credit to what Lamar Jackson is able to do, which is with him as your quarterback, you're never out of the game. And to me, the Ravens have been on the other end of that, where they've had 10-point leads and they've let them squander.
Yep.
So being on the other end of that this time was kind of odd. But it was a perfect performance for Lamar Jackson, minus the fumble, which I'll talk about. And the touchdown pass to Isaiah Likely truly is going to be in his highlight reel at the end of his career. I mean, that was phenomenal. To be able to, first the ball is fumbled. He's able to pick it up. He has a defender chasing him down, running towards the sideline. Stiff arms the defender.
Which been learning from Derrick Henry.
Was insane.
Been learning from Derrick Henry.
And then throws off his back foot, falling out of bounds. Great pass to only where Isaiah Likely could get it for a touchdown, which I believe at that point made it a 3-point game. I can't even remember now. There were so many critical points in that game, but that's what he does. When you need a play like that, Lamar Jackson is one of the few guys in the NFL who can make that type of play. So he is, for me, is the player of this game. And I think also Justin Tucker may have gotten his mojo back. Kicked a 56-yarder. Kick a 56-yarder to tie the game, take it into overtime, and then, of course, the short game-winning kick in overtime. But I also want to give the Ravens defense a little bit of credit too in overtime. After Lamar Jackson's fumble, which gave the Bengals the ball, I believe, in Ravens territory already at that point. Now the Bengals, I don't think they made the right move, running the football 3 times straight forward, no yards. But the Ravens defense got the stops they needed to, hold them to that field goal, which obviously could have won the game. We saw what happened with the bad hold and subsequently the bad kick that gave the Ravens the chance to go out and win the game. This game was it was a roller coaster of emotions. I think you guys said it at the top. It was just a classic Ravens-Bengals game. This is kind of what I've come to expect as a Ravens fan. This is kind of the new Ravens-Steelers from back in the day when I was a kid and I was really getting into football. It was always Ravens-Steelers were always these types of games, usually low scoring, which this one wasn't. But I'm just happy with the result. I'm happy with how it turned out, and I'm happy the Ravens didn't quit, because I think in a lot of situations, I've watched them kind of give up in these types of situations, or not go 110%, and that just didn't happen, I think, on either side of the ball. And Lamar once again probably saves John Harbaugh, because he again, his clock management was at an all-time bad move. Wasted a couple timeouts throughout the game. I think one was in the second half as well, which came down the stretch. They needed all those timeouts, and of course they didn't have one at that point. But I'm just happy, man. I'm happy with the win. We're at a good spot. We've won three straight games after starting 0-2. Hasn't been easy to get to this point, but our schedule is still pretty tough. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Commanders, Ravens. We can't take them lightly at all. They've got one of the hottest young quarterbacks, and that sounded weird. They've got one of the most talented young quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and I think our defense has an opportunity to go out and prove that we're not as bad as I think we're the 32nd ranked pass defense or something, which doesn't surprise me. But we were bad before this game. We were bad before this game too. So.
No, you weren't. Because last game you guys completely shut down Josh Allen.
Well, yeah, but we were still like 27th going into that game. We improved a little bit, but yeah, we went back down to the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have made pretty much every quarterback aside from Josh Allen that you played look like an All-Pro.
Yeah, pretty much.
And in all honesty, you guys have played. Well, I'm not.
Gardner Minshew
but,
destroyed us.
I mean, you guys start. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to go through the whole list, but you guys have faced tough quarterbacks. You guys faced Mahomes. I guess you could throw Dak in there because Dak did start making a comeback.
Yeah.
And then you faced Josh Allen, and then also you just faced Joe Burrow. So
it's a great.
Minshew's the only guy that's not up on their level, but somehow still always a Raven killer, no matter where he is.
2 years in a row. Yeah, it's concerning. This secondary is a concern, and they put a lot of money into this thing too. It's not like they haven't put resources and money into the secondary. I just think it's just been a big failure right now. Marcus Williams is, I mean, he can't tackle.
He's doo-doo.
He can't tackle. He's terrible. He's terrible. He gets beat consistently. Marlon Humphrey too throughout. Excuse me. Most of that game similar as well. Burnt toast out there on the field, but did make the interception obviously to sort of win back my admiration a little bit. But overall, the secondary, I think Nate Wiggins, he made a couple good plays as well. He was our first-round pick, obviously. I'm excited to see if he can continue to get better, but I don't see a lot of hope in this secondary right now. I think if we can continue to rush the quarterback, that'll be key moving forward, which we've been able to do a great job of. I think our defensive line is just pretty dominant for the most part, and that really hasn't changed from last season, but I'm not worried about the offense. I think we finally got it clicking. Derrick Henry has been everything and more these last couple games especially.
My only concern with the offense would be the constant abandoning of the run when you guys fall behind. That always concerns me because it's what you guys do best, and that's why you guys brought Derrick Henry in. Now, of course, I'm still on the Derrick Henry's kind of washed bandwagon, but he has looked great. I mean, he has looked good here in the past couple weeks, but I still think that throughout the season, he definitely wears down, obviously, because he gets hit a lot. But you see it when you go for his hips, he just goes down. But again, Lamar was sensational in this game. He was just an absolute, he went into
Lamarvelous.
He went. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. He went into God mode. He just took over the game. And same goes with Joe Burrow. Just on a random Sunday afternoon, they just had a duel of the century.
He's awesome.
In Cincinnati. And it's crazy because obviously we're going to see the rematch in about a month. So, excited for that. Hopefully we get the same, well, not that same kind of, hopefully it's still a more comfortable win for the Ravens, because I don't think we want to be there seeing that type of stress.
No.
But hopefully it's still an entertaining game. I mean, yeah, that is what you kind of expected from the Bengals once they got all their weapons back. T. Higgins went off. Jamar Chase had himself a game. I'm still not sure exactly what defensively the Ravens were doing. It felt like they were, it feels like a lot of teams are like, look, no matter what, Jamar Chase is going to beat us. But for some reason, it felt like the Ravens were we're just going to leave him one-on-one, and he was just burning you guys left and right. And I understand it's harder because T. Higgins is back. So it's like, okay, well, we can't just leave T. Higgins open. He's going to do his damage too. But I don't know. I think I'd rather take T. Higgins over Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
That's just me.
Take my chances.
I'll take my chances with T. Higgins than
Yeah.
Jamar Chase, because Jamar Chase is just we just know it. He's a special player.
We even let what's his name, Ashavash, make a I had a 39-yard reception against us, which is like, really?
Yeah, the secondary is a big concern. I don't necessarily know what you guys can do to really fix that. There's not much there. But yeah, I feel like the offense finally has found its footing a little bit more. I feel like that win against Buffalo helped. I feel like coming into this game, it definitely helped more. And I just would like for you guys to stop abandoning the run. And I understand you guys were down 10, and at that point you had a pass, but I still feel like the run game is still what gets you guys to the dance. So it's like, don't abandon that and don't make Lamar kind of one-dimensional. But yeah, I mean, really, I mean, you're right. It's the defense that concerns me about the Ravens, and there's not much. The offense, I think, is going to be okay, but it's just this is what it's going to be. It might, against the good teams, it's going to be shootouts. And
yep.
But we know who the final boss is, and I'm still not convinced that the Ravens are going to be capable of stopping the Chiefs.
Well, right now no one is. So
we'll talk about them we'll talk about them a little later. But in terms of this bounce back from going 0-2, bouncing back, winning 3 straight games, obviously coming in a tough game against the Commanders. It's tough, but I still have the Ravens favored. You guys have the Buccaneers, the Browns, the Broncos. I mean, you guys have a couple tough opponents still left, but overall, I mean, the schedule is still very favorable for you guys to take the division, considering how you guys started. To bounce back the way that the Ravens have is good news. And yeah, like I'm glad that they bounced back, because we need a rival. We need a rival over here. We need somebody. Damn, because clearly it's not going to be the Bengals. The Bengals defense is even worse than the Ravens. They can't stop anything. They
can't stop the run. Yeah,
they can't. They just, I mean, and then and then the Lamar fumble in overtime was a miss. That was on him. Because he 100%. He took his eye off the ball, didn't look it all the way in. And I agree with you. I think the decision to take the ball completely out of Joe Burrow's hand, even though it
was bad. It was a bad decision.
The Jamar Chase's slants were, were crossing slants, were just killing the Ravens defense.
Yeah, why not do that on first down? I don't
they just decided to try to run it. And I kind of understand it. They're like, look, we're in favorable field position. We're, if we don't get a first down or whatever, we're still in field goal range. And I honestly thought McPherson could make it. I mean, that's something he normally makes. And then it went wide left, and you're like, oh, now we're in business. And of course, the next play, Derrick Henry takes it 62 yards.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, and I wish more teams would do this. It's like, hey, it's overtime. Next score wins. Like, you're already in field goal range. Just take the field goal. Like, don't keep this going. Like,
somebody was like, why didn't they keep? I'm like,
you just needed a score to win.
End it.
At that point, too much weird stuff has happened.
Yep.
Let's go home with the dub. That's
Take the ball out of their hands completely. Don't let them get the ball back.
And I thought it was a really smart move by Harbaugh there to just go for the field goal. Just say, Tucker makes this in his sleep. This is close enough where it is in that type of territory, because we know he's been shaky from long distance, although he did make that beautiful 56-yarder. And hopefully that is going to start bringing his mojo back, because he's been a little off lately.
Yep.
I think it was a good, resilient performance, because the Bengals weren't going away offensively,
No.
and you guys had to keep up, and you guys went down by 10. It was a good fight back. It was a good win. And the Bengals have a lot to work on. I mean, what are they sitting at now? They are now 1-4. Like, they have a lot of work to do. And I still think they can make the playoffs. It's just that defense has to help somewhat and make some type of stop, because I mean, somebody made the comparison. This feels a lot like the early 2010s New Orleans Saints, where their offense was elite, but their defense wasn't stopping anybody, and they were just losing shootouts. So let's hope. I mean, yeah, let's see what they can do. And I mean, I think they'll always have a chance because they have Joe Burrow, who's clearly top 3 quarterbacks, in one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think you all nailed it on the head perfectly. It was a really close game. Some improvements, obviously, but the Ravens
Always
doing what they need to do to get the job done. So 41-38, the Baltimore Ravens with a victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. Will take another quick break. So much more to come on episode 209 of the Kirby on Sports podcast right after this.
Bed bugs. The only thing creepier than thinking about them is actually having them. Trust me, you don't want to have them. Locally owned and operated Barrett Pest and Termite Services can keep you from having bed bug nightmares and infestations. Call 540-340-3922 to schedule your free inspection and consultation. If bed bugs are already in your home, we'll get rid of them so you can rest easy. We also specialize in keeping homes and businesses free of other pests, including rodents and termites. That's Barrett Pest and Termite Services, 540-340-3922.
Here we go, back in action. The Kirby on Sports podcast with the weapon Dan Dembski, the Swiss Army knife Carlos Martinez. I am Josh Kirby. This next game, I have absolutely no comment because I literally turned it off as soon as I heard lightning delay. But I will tell you, Dak Prescott made history in this game. You didn't see it?
I don't care. Like, it's the dumbest stat of all time. I don't care. Well, listen, this game made for the longest Sunday of football. Yeah, longest day. And,
I know what he's going to do.
Oh, yeah. No, this one, yes, this one it did.
Who?
This one it did, because obviously we had the London game, which God help me with that one. I actually kind of forgot that was happening. And then
yeah, me too.
The delay caused it to go until basically 12:59 a.m. on Monday morning. It was, God.
And you weren't happy. You were fighting sleep watching this game.
Oh, I fell asleep. Like, I fell asleep multiple times during the game, and then I completely missed the ending. I woke up, something else was playing on my TV, just like it used to back in the day. It was playing some weird show. I was kind of hoping it was going to be like Enchanted or something like that, just like the old days, but no, it wasn't. It was some weird Peacock show. Yeah, I totally missed the ending. I looked up the score like afterwards, and it was like, oh, the Cowboys won. I was like, all right, I'm just going back to sleep. And then I watched the final drive yesterday in the morning after I woke up. I have some thoughts.
Let's hear them. Tell us about your Dallas Cowboys.
No, I mean, look.
Let's hear about this thrilling victory, 20-17, in a lightning delay game that ended on Monday.
That lightning delay was insufferable, and it was a really bad storm. It was a really, really bad storm. But, man, I was like, can we please start the game? I'm tired. I'm beat. I'm like, I'm really not – I have work tomorrow. I'm not really looking forward to this. The Cowboys are injured out the wazoo right now. No Micah Parsons, no DeMarcus Lawrence, no Deron Bland, no who else are we missing? No Brendan Cooks, no I think that was all the guys we were really missing that were really important. Yeah, but like,
aren't they all important, Carlos?
No. No, absolutely not. And then it was just a very sloppy game. The Cowboys offense was moving up and down the field, but just were shooting themselves in the foot, weren't finishing drives, turnovers out the wazoo. Dak Prescott throws 3 interceptions, fumbles galore. And all in all, somehow, some way, the Cowboys found a way to win, and Dak Prescott had himself a great drive at the end, and it came down to it, 4th and goal. Tolbert just got hit in the nuts and is still in the game, and ends up catching the game-winning touchdown, which is huge for him, considering that's a good, like, he's a good person, and you just want to see him succeed. And he comes from a small college, and it was all right. I wasn't jumping for joy that we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, honestly, if we would have done that with any other team that had any competent form of offense or whatever, that could take advantage of it, the Cowboys would have been cooked. I mean, that was absolutely terrible play by Dak Prescott, but then he saved it at the end, which was, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Rico Dowdle had himself a great game.
He did. He's played well.
He played well in this game for sure. Kind of gave us a little bit of a running attack. Although it was only 3 yards a carry, it was at least something that was able to.
Haven't had that consistency at all, really. So
yeah, I mean, the running back room is just abysmal in Dallas. I mean, Zeke just doesn't know. Zeke has nothing. Rico gives us a little bit, but just not what we're used to having. The offensive line took some big hits. We obviously lost Guyton, in the first half, and we had to bump Tyler Smith out and put in Tyler Bass at left guard, and honestly kind of solidified the left side, because I mean, Guyton's been getting beat. He's obviously a very raw talent. I think he's going to be something special once he finally starts getting his feet under him, but he's a young player. But Tyler Smith is a good, everybody, I mean, they even said on the podcast, guy that is going to be an all-pro left guard, but he's a pretty good left tackle. And we lost Zach Martin for a little bit there too. And he was able to come back for that last drive, and I think that's really why. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why they were able to, get that last drive going. Yeah, great win, I guess. But I still have a lot of issues with this team, and I'm still not very optimistic about this team. We have a very tough stretch coming up against the Lions, the 49ers, and so on. And I just don't really see I don't know. I just don't feel the excitement that I normally would. And maybe this is just because I've been I'm finally just not buying into the BS that Jerry gets us believing every year. But it's just, I don't know. I'm just not that locked in with this team for some reason. And even a win like this, I'm not all that excited about, because I'm like, look, we should have beaten the Giants by more. We should have beaten this team by more. And yet we have turnovers galore, and thankfully they don't have the best offense, and our defense has actually been playing pretty decent when you really look at the stats. But it just doesn't wow you. And I don't know. I don't know. I just don't. I'm afraid to buy into the team just because I've been hurt too many times.
I can understand that.
Yeah, and they've had. I mean, every game's been close. So every win's been close, I should say. So I can totally understand why you feel that way. But a win is a win, after all. And
you're right.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, who were 3-0, have now lost 2 straight games.
Do they look at Russell Wilson now, or keep Justin Fields?
Nah,
I don't think so. I don't think Russ helps.
No. And Justin Fields isn't playing that badly, I don't think. I think the problem in this game is just the Steelers could not run the ball at all, and their leading rusher had 42 yards. So it's you're putting it all on whoever the quarterback is at that point, and I think Justin Fields did okay. He didn't. Well, it
also doesn't help that he doesn't have receivers. I mean, Pickens is just doing nothing out there.
Yeah,
nothing. I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, it just, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. But I hope they keep losing. So
But what a late game that was.
No, it was too late.
It was miserable,
Too
man.
late, dude. I mean, when the game is almost over at 1 a.m.
They should have just rescheduled the game for, I don't know.
Obviously,
I
they're
don't
not going
know.
to reschedule it. I
It's
mean,
Monday night. I guess if it was a Sunday game, they could have done something different, but I don't know.
no, it was just I don't know. There was no way they're going to reschedule it, but it was just like, dude, that's too late. I'm not a young kid anymore. Like, I need my sleep, bro.
Me
Like,
too. We all do.
yeah.
We all need it.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
So the Cowboys over the Steelers 20-17. Let's take another quick break and we'll talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Mark Peter Lynch with Guild Mortgage. One of the greatest joys in doing business over the last 30 years in the Shenandoah Valley is helping people buy their first home. Buying their first home and putting the keys in their hand at the closing table has brought me so much joy. If you want to buy your first home, a second home, or an investment property, or build wealth through investment in real estate, give me a call. My phone number is 540-664-4700, or you can find me on the World Wide Web at www.marksmortgage.com.
We welcome you back to the Kirby on Sports podcast. And the last game on our tab, the Kansas City Chiefs improving to 5-0 with a 26-13 victory over the New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr seems to be injured now for the Saints.
Yeah, he's gone.
The Chiefs,
So
Patrick
bad.
She gone.
Patrick Mahomes, as you said, seemed to be doing some pretty good things out there. He did throw an interception to a big.
He did not throw an interception. Juju Smith-Schuster bobbled a pass and it went straight into Saunders' hands. And God, can that boy move, because he was down the field and I thought he was going to score.
Oh my God, that was funny. But Mahomes looked pretty good. The Chiefs, Kareem Hunt back. I saw some of the game and they mentioned Kareem Hunt said, "You won't be disappointed in me back." He was happy to be with the Chiefs once again, with all the injuries and stuff, still finding a way to get the job done.
It's what we do, baby. It's what we do. No matter who is there, we going to find a way, because we have the baby GOAT on our team, the guy who will eventually dethrone Tom Brady as the GOAT so soon. So what a short reign that was, especially if they pull off this three-peat, which, boys, the three-peat is still on. It looks like we're getting the Arrowhead Invitational back in Kansas City as the way it should be, instead of taking it on the road, to Buffalo and Baltimore. Sorry, Dan. But no, I mean, it was a great win. It was a comfortable win for the most part. I mean, yeah, the Saints pulled it close there a little bit at the end, but it really never felt like Kansas City wasn't in control. I mean, in all honesty, this game should have been a blowout. It's just Kansas City, and this has been an issue that's kind of been plaguing them for a few years, is in the regular season, they kind of struggle in the red zone, and they struggle to finish drives. I mean, they were moving up and down the field on this team, and really, if they would have this game should have been like 42 to whatever they scored, 16, whatever it was. I can't even remember. Just everybody was ready to write Travis Kelce off, and he has himself a pretty decent game. Still hasn't scored a touchdown, but that will come in time. Juju Smith-Schuster turned back the clock on those old knees at the old age of 27 years old.
Yeah, it's just crazy to say out loud.
Yeah, it's just his knees are just not what they used to be. You can definitely tell he's not the player he used to be. But he has enough juice to be able to fill in the Rashee Rice role. And Xavier Worthy did a great job of trying to blow the top of the team, getting a couple, or he only got one pass interference call. The other one definitely should have been called, but wasn't called. And Kareem Hunt, like you said, Kirby, he just really he has given this team a lot of juice, and his running style is very different from Pacheco. Pacheco's just full on 100%, pedal to the metal, balls to the wall, whatever you want to say. And sometimes that's a little detrimental because sometimes he just runs straight into the back of the backs of his offensive line and gets like no gains and stuff. He doesn't see the field all the way. And Kareem Hunt is very selective with how he runs that way. He's a very patient runner. I can remember, I can't remember if it was this game or if it was last game against the Chargers, where he literally he's a lot how Le'Veon Bell used to run, where he would just wait and then go.
Yep.
And he's done that a
Patient
few
runner.
times. He's a very patient runner. And like I said, he's very selective on when he like uses his bursts and like uses his aggression to like get a couple extra yards. And I think that's going to be very helpful when Pacheco does come back, because it's clear Kareem Hunt is the guy right now. When Pacheco comes back, it'll save them both from having to take a lot of punishment, because they're both physical runners, but Pacheco can kind of learn from Kareem Hunt how to kind of run in that style.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're doing all this, and we're obviously missing the key players. We're missing, obviously came out before the game, Rashee Rice. It looks like his season's done. He had his procedure today. I haven't heard anything or seen anything saying that it's confirmed about anything about his ACL, but if it's LCL, it still might take 3 months. So he's probably going to be done. Or he might come back at the end. But either way, he's back for the regular season. And Hollywood Brown will eventually come back, and Pacheco will be back in, I think, about 5 more weeks is how much more longer he's going to be out. But all in all, I mean, the thing is that luckily this team isn't ran by the offense. This is a defensive team. And boy, is that Kansas City defense something special, man.
They look really, really good.
Well, it helps when you have the opposing quarterback throw one of the worst passes I think I've ever seen.
I don't know what he was trying to do there. Like, he just threw that thing up there.
That looks like me when I first learned to play football.
Cook and that was an incredible interception by Cook.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, the Saints, though.
Okay. Let's not sit here and act like people weren't hyping up the Saints after they demolished the Dallas Cowboys. Okay.
They were.
Let's not say be like the Saints though. No. They're a good team. They are a good team. It's just that Kansas City defense is something special. They shut down Chris Olave. They shut down Alvin Kamara. Derek Carr had nowhere to go with the ball. Boy, didn't know anything.
They're undefeated. Might be the biggest reason why they're undefeated, quite honestly.
I mean, the defense, again, it's really hard. It's really hard to look at this schedule and think, who's going to beat this defense? Because I don't see San Francisco doing it. San Francisco hasn't been themselves,
Too many injuries.
For this whole season.
Yeah.
I think the only game I would probably say they're going to lose is Buffalo, because we always lose to Buffalo in the regular season, but then we always beat them in the playoffs. I feel like there's going to be one dumb loss, which might be the Cleveland Browns. I'm not sure.
Could be.
And then we're probably going to lose a division game. So it's either going to be the Broncos, or I don't think it's going to be the Raiders this year, because they're obviously about to get rid of Devontae. Yeah. 17-0, loading up. That's if they actually go 17-0, that's going to be crazy, because again, they're going to do something that hasn't been done since Tom Brady's 2007 Patriots when they went 16-0. And then again, who's going to stop them? What team looks like they have the juice to stop them? The Vikings? Absolutely not. Sam Darnold ain't beating this defense. This defense is just, they are.
Write that down, Kirby. 10-8-24, Carlos.
17-0.
Carlos predicts
baby.
Possible 17-0.
If they do it, I will get the Kansas City Chiefs logo and their record tattooed on my forearm. It's a good bet to make, because it's probably not going to happen. They're definitely going to lose a game. It's going to happen. It's just really hard to pick which team it's going to be, because they just went through their toughest stretch. You beat the Ravens. You beat the Bengals. You beat the Chargers. You beat the Saints. Who else did they beat? I'm missing a team. Who am I missing?
The Ravens.
No,
Oh, you
I said the Ravens.
Oh.
Ravens, Bengals, Chargers, Saints,
Falcons.
Falcons. Yeah, you beat the Falcons. Like, all these teams are not slouches. I mean, and they were all close games. And who ended up closing out the game? It was the defense, aside from the Saints. The Saints game was already done by that point.
Derek Carr closed that game out from the start.
Yeah, it really did. And again, this Chiefs offense is still trying to get completely going.
They're not
once
going
they
yet.
figure out the red zone
It's
issues,
scary.
it's game over for everybody.
Scary.
Like, that's the thing, is like the three-peat is on, baby. Let's go. You see, for the Chiefs, you see how excited I am for the Chiefs. And you don't see this excitement coming out of me for the Cowboys. The three-peat is on, baby. Let's freaking go.
Well, the Chiefs over the Saints 26-13. It's been a lot of fun, and we have one more segment to go. The Kirby on Sports PickEm comes your way next.
It's Jason, General Manager at Shenandoah Music, here to tell you all about...
Jay, what are you doing here?
Well, Matt, I'm trying to tell the people about our selection of guitars, basses, keyboards, drum sets.
I know that, but I always do the radio spots.
You get to have all the fun. I want to tell everyone about our huge selection, unbeatable prices, unmatched service, and in-depth knowledge.
Jay, I really don't think now is the time to discuss.
So remember, folks, when you think music, think Shenandoah Music in Winchester.
That's my line.
Welcoming you back to the Kirby on Sports Podcast, episode 209, with the weapon Dan Dembski and the Swiss Army knife Carlos Martinez. I'm your host, Josh Kirby, and it is now time for the most famous segment on the Kirby on Sports Podcast. The Kirby on Sports Pick'em. We now send it to the moderator, Carlos Martinez.
Incorrect. Not the moderator. You're reigning, defending, two-time champion. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are in week 6.
Ooh, this looks good.
Yeah, we're in week 6 of the Pick'ems challenge, of course. Just want to give you guys a little history lesson real quick. At this point last year, real quick, let me pull up the graphic.
I bet it was almost identical.
Almost, but we are actually, aside from Kirby,
Who was in the...
No, the only person who is doing better than they were last year is myself.
Wow.
Because at this point last season, going into week 6 of the Pick'ems, Dan was 18-12. He is currently 18-12. Kirby was 17-13. He is currently 17-13. I was 15-15. I am 17-13. I'm 2 games ahead of schedule, which means, again, history is repeating itself, boys.
Oh, here we go.
Again, I'm telling you, it happens in threes, baby. The Chiefs are gonna three-peat. Your boy is gonna three-peat. That's how it happens. That's how it goes. I'm sorry. Just give up now while you guys still can leave with dignity. Just give me the title again, okay? It's gonna happen. Kirby's gonna owe us 27 more pancakes, and that's what it's gonna be. Anywho. So with that history lesson out of the way, the games we will be picking this week are obviously the battle between Kirby and Dan, the battle of the DMV. I don't know what else you want to call this rivalry.
The battle of the Beltway, probably.
Yeah, the battle of the Beltway. I was trying to make a Beltway one, but I couldn't think of it. The Ravens against the Commanders. We will also be picking the Cowboys against the Lions, the Bills against the Jets, the Bucks against the Saints, and the 49ers against the Seahawks, and the Jaguars against the Bears, which is live from London, which I'm not sure we all considered, but it is what it is.
What are you going to do?
So I will go first, of course, as your reigning, defending two-time Pick'ems champion. I will be taking the Ravens. I have decided to go for Team Dan here because I just think that overall they just have the more experienced team. I think Washington hasn't necessarily faced anybody like the Ravens yet. Man, I can't say that because they did face the Buccaneers and they did lose, but that was also their very first game of the season. And I think they have grown a lot since then, but I still think the Ravens are right now on a very hot streak. And that's not saying that Washington isn't. Washington is definitely on a hot streak too, but I just think overall, I just think the Ravens take the edge here. I will take the Cowboys over the Lions because I'm contractually obligated to. I don't believe in this. I really think the Lions are going to win. I think the Lions are a better team, and it's at Dallas, and Dallas is clearly not a home team this year. All their wins have come on the road. I would take the Bills over the Jets, especially now with all the turmoil that's happening.
How about that?
Of course, there is the new coach rule where usually the interim coach gets a little juice out of the team, and then they end up winning. But I just think this was just like
too much
way out of this came out of nowhere. I think a lot of players were not expecting this, and Aaron Rodgers is just not good. And I'm going to go with Buffalo. I'm going to take Tampa Bay over New Orleans, especially now that it looks like Derek Carr is going to be out for multiple weeks. It's that we had this game picked before we knew about the oblique injury. So we all picked the Bucks anyways before that news even came out. So I'm taking the Bucks. I'll take the 49ers over the Seahawks. I think the 49ers are hopefully due for a bounce back. The Seahawks just lost to the Giants, but the 49ers just dealing with a lot, and it looks like I don't know if even Christian McCaffrey coming back would help this team. They're just kind of there's a lot of issues, but I think they can beat Seattle. And then I picked Chicago. This one I was a little back and forth on, but I ended up
me too.
Chicago because I think Chicago finally the Jaguars had themselves a good game. And let me just throw this a little side note. Those throwback Jaguar uniforms. We're sick. They're
pretty
sometimes
great.
I just like sometimes some things just need to come back. That's a jersey that needs to come back because
agreed.
They look good. It looked good.
Look good.
Yeah. So, but I will take Chicago. I think Chicago. Caleb Williams is starting to get his feet under him. Again, the factoring in though this whole London thing. Jacksonville knows what it's like to play in London.
It's basically a home
Chicago
team.
does not.
Basically a home team.
Might be a little dicey, but I'm going to stick with Chicago. So, so those are my picks. Hopefully, I go 6-0. I probably won't, not with the Dallas Cowboys. But with that, I send it to I send it over to Dan Dembski. I don't remember what I normally say when I send it to you.
Yeah, me either. Well, we had that a week gap where you didn't have to say anything. So, I will.
You went back and watched. He had some stuff to say.
I talked a little shit.
All right.
Excuse my French.
I guess I need to watch then.
Please.
I was hoping you'd watch.
Yeah. So I will take the Baltimore Ravens over the Washington Commanders. I'm contractually obligated, and I think Carlos kind of nailed it. I think the Ravens, just kind of being a veteran team, they know how to win these types of games, and also. I think it's more important for the Ravens to win this game right now. They have to continue to try to take the lead in the AFC North, obviously tied right now with Pittsburgh. It's an important game. Obviously wouldn't make a difference since it's not a conference game if they win or lose necessarily, but I just have a feeling the Ravens will come out on top and prove that they also have the better stadium, which everyone already knows anyway. I will take
facts.
I will take the Lions over the Cowboys. I did kind of think about this game a little bit. I kind of felt like Dallas is due for some sort of not bounce back because they won, but kind of a game to sort of flex their muscles a little bit. But then I was like, I think the Lions coming off a bye week, especially, I think I have more confidence that the Lions will.
Not only that, remember last year's game.
Yeah, true. Good point.
They're gonna want some get back.
It's true. Yeah, I think they'll be well rested, well refreshed, and I think they'll beat Dallas. I do think this will be a close game though, and I do think it's going to come down to some late game heroics by our very own Jared Goff. So we shall see. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills over the Jets. The Jets are a mess, and the Bills are due for, I think, a pretty big game here. So I kind of think this is. I kind of think Buffalo wins this by 2 scores. Honestly, I know it's a divisional game, and obviously those are always pretty close and competitive. But I just don't.
It's also a Monday night game.
Yeah, which is always pretty competitive. But I still think Buffalo kind of puts the hammer down in this game and beats the Jets pretty handily. So I will take them. I'm going to take the Bucks over the Saints. Obviously, Carlos mentioned the injury to Derek Carr, and I think also similarly right now, just the Bucks are just playing really good football. They've been one of the most impressive teams I think in the NFC so far this year, and Baker Mayfield has continued to play really well. So I think I'm going to take I'll definitely take the Bucks in that game. Going to take the 49ers over Seattle. This is kind of a game went back and forth on because San Francisco's had so many injuries. They don't really have an identity right now as a team, which I think Carlos kind of alluded to with his pick.
But Brock Purdy has been playing very well. I think he's single-handedly kept the 49ers in a lot of games.
Most definitely. And you would think without, some of his weapons, that wouldn't be the case, but he's impressed. He's impressed. He's played really well. And I think Seattle's been pretty impressive too with the first-year head coach.
I would agree.
So again, I think this.
You're a former defensive coordinator.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts.
No bias.
No bias at all.
No bias at all.
But I do think San Francisco is still the better team, and I think they'll pull it out. Again, I think it's going to be a very close, competitive game. These two teams always, and historically, have always played really close, fun, competitive games, and I think this could be another one of those. And then finally, I will take the Chicago Bears over the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'd forgotten until Carlos mentioned that this was the London game, which is essentially a home game for the Jags because they play there pretty much every season.
I mean, they're doing a 2-week stint. They're playing this there, and then next week they're playing, I think, the Bills.
So, if I knew that, I might have changed my pick. But I think the Bears are the better team.
I think it's safe to keep it where it's at, just because we all picked it. So if we all lose, we all lose.
We all lose. Who cares? But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Caleb Williams handles the first international game. That'll be something to see. So I know that that's probably going to be the storyline heading into that game. It'll be his first international game in the National Football League. So with that, those are my picks. Throw it over to the founder and CEO, Mr. Josh Kirby.
Thank you very much, Dan. The Kirby on Sports PickEm. Excuse me. I will start with the Washington Commanders over the Baltimore Ravens. This will be a very close, very competitive test for the Washington Commanders. I'm contractually obligated, but still, I think this could be a game that if the Commanders show up and play clean, fundamentally sound football, they could win. But again, a big test. We'll have to see. The Detroit Lions over the Dallas Cowboys, I'm giving the edge to the Lions. I think this is going to be another close game. But the Lions, last time they played Dallas, a lot left on the table. The Lions just want to get back. The Bills over the Jets, I mean, is there a question? Is there a question? Is there a question?
What's 2 plus 2? Because you keep asking, is there a question? There's your freaking question.
4. Thank you.
5.
The Bucs are playing good football. Baker Mayfield looks incredible. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I'm taking the Bucs over the Saints. I think the 49ers want to get back after the loss to Arizona. I have them edging Seattle. It is a close one, a toss-up, but I'm picking the 49ers. And I picked the Chicago Bears over the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the Jags are kind of struggling. Took Joe Flacco to the wire and beat them. I wish Joe Flacco would have won, though. But
yeah, I know.
Regardless, still, I think the Jags have a lot to work out. Doug Peterson, could he be on the hot seat?
No, what Doug Peterson needs to do is take the play calling back because, God, his offensive coordinator is terrible.
It's really bad. Yeah.
So I'm picking the Bears. Caleb Williams overseas in London. We'll see how that goes. But the Bears seem to be clicking a little bit at a time each and every week. So it's going to be very interesting. And with that, that is the Kirby on Sports Pick'em.
Hold on. Just a little side note. Just a little side note. You see my picture? Where Dan, quick question. Where was that picture taken?
That was at M&T Bank Stadium, Carlos.
And whose arm is around me?
That would be me, I believe.
So does it not make sense that I went Team Dan, baby? Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Baltimore.
Well, listen, that's the Kirby on Sports Pick'em. You pick with us. You get the most amount correct on our Facebook page, the Kirby on Sports Podcast. You win a large cheese pizza from Anthony's Pizza, home of the Warrior, 161 Warrior Drive.
If you want, you can come on and pick with us.
In terms and conditions do apply. Yes, that is true. We did that once before. So,
and haven't done it since.
Yeah.
Not that it was a bad thing. It's just I don't think Kirby ever reached out to the people that won.
A lot's been on my plate, let's just say. So
I hear barking in the distance. You hear that? I'm just kidding.
Oh no. They're getting loud, they're getting hyper. But I gotta get out of here. Boys, thank you so much. The Weapon Dan FT, the Swiss Army Knife, Carlos Martinez, as always, for our sponsors, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Transformative Alignment Group, Barrett, Pest, and Termite Services, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, Shenandoah Music, and the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports podcast, Don't Sleep Energy. Use promo code KOS Podcast for 12% off your order. Every single time. Once again, for Dan, Carlos, I am Josh. Check out all of our work, www.kirbyonsports.com. Always remember to create greatness, and we say so long and peace out.